Hello and welcome everyone. I am Kate Lance with the Creative Coast and you're watching Lunchtime Topics. If this is your first time watching a Lunchtime Topic, it is a program of the Creative Coast. We are a 501c3 nonprofit here in Savannah, Georgia, and we exist to cultivate the innovation economy here in the coastal Georgia region through both educational and social programming. Lunchtime Topics is one of these educational programs and happens a couple of times a month, featuring a business expert who shares their wisdom with the entrepreneurial and startup community of Savannah and surrounding areas. So super excited about today's guest speaker because the topic is on point as we're starting the new year. A lot of people thinking about transitioning to new careers or landing new contracts. So today's guest speaker joins us to talk about keeping our resume updated, as well as professional etiquette. And Jordan Riles, who has a bachelor's degree in mass communications for public relations from Savannah State University and a master's in professional communications and leadership from the Georgia Southern Armstrong campus here in Savannah. She's a certified corporate etiquette consultant, and she is the CEO of Riles Resumes Plus. In addition to schooling us on staying resume ready, she's also going to talk deeper with us about contracts, how to utilize LinkedIn, and professional protocol. So I'm super excited to have Jordan back. We've known Jordan for a while now and worked with her in various capacities. So welcome, Jordan. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Tuesday, terrific Tuesday, everyone. Welcome. If you're just coming in, if you're able to share with others, go ahead and do that. I want to thank Miss Kate and Miss Jennifer for the opportunity to share with everyone logged on and tuned in today. I'm honestly so grateful to be connected with the Creative Coast, and I can't fail to mention, although the program has changed significantly, the previous experience I had with 1 Million Cups, which I had the pleasure of pitching my now 5-year-old vision and manifestation of an etiquette school, Impressum School of Social Graces, back when Creative Coast was located on Boundary Street. It was an eye-opening and fulfilling experience for me that I've clearly not been able to forget. Now with Riles Resumes Plus, both which are under my LLC, J Enterprises or Joy Enterprises of Jordan LLC, DBA J Enterprises LLC, I'm yet continuing to strive to be the best in class of my expertise. So I'm going to get right into it, and thank you again. And as I see people coming in, I guess I'll admit them, and let's get going.
I'll admit them.
Okay. Got you. So you can see it as well. When I coach collegians and rising professionals on resume writing and cover letter constructing, interview preparation, and the like, I always keep in mind that I'm addressing a variety of professional interests. There may be the aspiring dentist, the rising management executive, and the future educator. But there's also sure to be a significant percentage of rising entrepreneurs, or those who will be bivocational even, for the greater duration of their professional lives. I provide detailed tips on how to market oneself on his or her resume. I'm sure to highlight that, yes, even you, entrepreneur, you need a resume too. Even if you'll be employing yourself, your resume still exists to clarify, first to yourself, then to others who, to those who will need you. It exists to clarify just what you offer, how you qualify to provide those services or products. And it even shows areas that may need more attention. It shows you those areas that you may want to grow and expand in. You can see that by looking over your resume and seeing that, what I like to call professional reputation on paper. Of course, there's your business plan. But let's say you're seeking a contract with an organization or entity who needs to know how you fit their vision and mission. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Your resume, first of all, as an entrepreneur, and even in general, as a person seeking to get momentum in business as a professional, to gain more experience. So this is for entrepreneurs as well as the working class person in general. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I said, we'll talk about resumes, contracts. I have a little equation of mine I like to share. I'll share that with you. So let me, share screen. I could have shared. There you go. The PowerPoint's already up. And let me make sure to put it in presentation mode. So yeah, resume ready. I like alliteration. So resume ready and professional polishing for the top tier executive. And again, I'm Jordan Riles, certified corporate etiquette consultant. So your resume is, like I said before, this is my definition of it, your professional reputation on paper. Your reputation is something that follows you. It's something that people know you by or that you're known for. And your resume documents those things as far as your professional experience, not so much what you're known for among your friends, but what you're known for in the workplace. That's what your resume is. It speaks to the needs of a company who may not yet have a position in place that addresses what you have answers for. It precedes you in validating the points of interest you may have only slightly touched on in conversation, with written proof and detail as to how you can take a brand to the next level in whatever field of expertise you operate in. Being resume ready is a call to action for everyone who has a product or service to provide. Having a resume on ready or having a resume ready is never beneath you, no matter how many years of experience you possess. Keeping it updated is a compliment to yourself. It's your assistant and your megaphone for as long as you work. So here's a sample resume. And I go through the resume in detail with many people, from the parts of it, the formatting, whether templates are welcome or not. I say, if you know how to operate and work a template, that's good, but you can create a resume in a blank Word document and still have all of those, lines, bullets, the same things that you see in a template, you can do in a blank Word document. And sometimes it's easier to update when you create your resume in a blank Word document. You have to really work through templates sometimes. So your objective or your professional summary is the introduction of yourself or the summary of what's to follow in that resume. Some people put skills or highlights and bullets under that objective or summary. Some people put their education at the bottom of their resume, which is not frowned upon. Some people prefer that. Put your education last. You have professional experience. Internships can go under professional experience. Honors and awards is something else to consider highlighting. Professional affiliations, memberships, organizations that you're a member of. And I would suggest leaving your references separate. So create a separate reference sheet. Make your resume all about you, and meaning keeping other people's names off of it as far as those references. Make it all about you and do a separate reference sheet. Last note before I move on, I don't want to dwell too long on this because I have a lot more detail to go through. But last note is to make sure that the heading, you see that Jane Doe Rivers, name, address, city, state, zip, phone number, email. Make sure that the heading of your resume, your cover letter, which I also assist with those, and your reference sheet, make sure the heading is the same for all three of those documents so that there's uniformity in those deliverables. And I can help with that as well. I'll share my information at the end where I can talk one-on-one with anyone who needs detailed going through each document. Some people prefer to leave off their mailing address and just put city and state. At least put city and state so that if you're looking to relocate, at least the company knows where you're coming from and you could possibly negotiate living stipend, all of that. So I see someone's trying to get in. I know her, yay. And so that's for your resume. And if you're just coming in, welcome. Make sure to share this with others. We are talking on being resume ready, professional polishing, and this is for the top tier executive. So just talking through the details of the resume and how the resume is for everyone. It's for those who own a business. It's for those who are looking, of course, to be hired to gain more experience. For those who are bivocational, trivocational. So your resume is a tool that is necessary no matter what level of work or professionalism you're on. Now, when we get into, I mentioned contracts. And your contract is something you create based on how you see yourself providing or fulfilling a need for a company as an entrepreneur. So you set those guidelines, and it's an understanding that you have. Some people call it different things, contract, some people to be on a lighter note, memorandum of understanding, or just agreement. So that is the way you would like for them to understand the expectations that you'll be providing, how you would like the company to expect you to work for them, what you want that working relationship to look like. It could be an MOU, like I said, you can call it an agreement or a contract, but this is your written officiating document, because without it, just like an attorney told myself and a few others of my colleagues years ago, without things in writing, it's almost like anything goes. If you don't have a registered business with the state, you don't have a business. You can do business all day, but if it's not legally acknowledged or registered, it's just not business. I've had my LLC since I was 23, and now I'm 32. So there's always more to learn about securing your business and always improving and making sure that you cover yourself in business. Having things in writing saves your behind. I was just talking about that with Ms. Kate. Having things in writing saves your behind. It saves you. And as a communications major, communications professional, it's become ingrained in me to write things down, even if it's on a napkin or a note card or the back of someone's business card. I write to remember things. I write to be able to revisit something. It's a good habit to have. So this is talking in reference to contracts. And if writing's not your thing, have a writer in your circle. There are people who love to write. Me, I will write for hire. That's the service I provide, transcribing or writing for others, taking notes. I pride myself in being a trustworthy note taker. Most of the time, my hand, writing something down in the present moment is better than my brain recalling it later too. So that's just to touch on contracts and having things in place. Of course, writing out what you want that to working relationship to look like. And then of course, having someone, an attorney, paralegal, someone who is familiar with those documents to look over it, to edit it before you start dispersing it and utilizing it. So contracts are very important, and they are an aid to the rising professional, to someone who aims to be a top tier executive. Now, I have this, I recently presented at Georgia Southern Statesboro on branding and deciding your career field and gaining experience to add to your resume. And I told them to think about something that you're good at. And most of them were juniors, athletes, juniors, seniors. There were a few sophomores in there. And they were mostly decided on their major. But now that you've decided on what it is you want to do and what you like to do and what you want to make a living doing, we have to keep in mind that whatever it is we do that we're good at, that we love to do, that's our business savvy. We're savvy, we're knowledgeable about that thing, but not only being knowledgeable and being good at what we do is enough. It's also about staying prepared, always polishing up on what it is we know and we're good at to, just stay sharp on it. That will keep you marketable. So the equation is your business savvy plus preparedness, or being prepared, will equal you being marketable and you being the go-to person for what it is that you do. I can know formal when it comes to etiquette, because I teach that as well. When it comes to formal versus informal dining, I can know how to set a table like the back of my hand. But if it comes to me presenting it and I haven't presented it in a while and I don't brush up on that, I am not prepared to present something that I'm good at or that I know. So it's always being prepared and brushing up on it and reviewing it and studying what you do, staying on top of it, studying that niche for yourself and staying sharp on that. I'm currently working on another certification that has to do with etiquette, hospitality certification. And so adding that to my already corporate etiquette is something that I believe will keep me marketable, especially for offering etiquette. And so business savvy alone, adding preparation and studying and reviewing will keep you marketable. So always be looking for opportunities to brush up on what it is that you do. My dad does financial services. He has been doing that for, let me see, I'm 32, probably more than 25 years. And so he's working on another certification where he can add a credential to providing financial services, retirement planning, and he's in his 60s. So it's always a compliment to be able to add a credential to something that you already provide. You all agree? And so I am brushing through this a little bit quicker than I thought I would, because I tend to go on and on, but I mentioned talking about LinkedIn, not just social media, but your LinkedIn and having a LinkedIn profile, first of all, I would say LinkedIn separates the matter into what really matters. Like, there's so much out there in the social media world to sift through. And if you are looking to do business, it's good to have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and what's that Clubhouse that was popular for, I haven't heard much about it. It was hot for a minute. Clubhouse, it may still be very popular. It's good to have all of that, but LinkedIn is a more polished platform of all of those for business and for the business professional. You have your personal progress, here's my trip to Vegas for my birthday that you post, to today I hung out with business executives at Top Golf, to check out this partnership secured between J Enterprises LLC and PR Today, or I'm proud to announce another certification obtained, which will better help me serve my clientele. I'm talking about things that we post and how LinkedIn provides a platform where, the progression of what we post from personal to professional makes a difference. So you can post about, where you're posting your business information should have a place to live apart from, posting about your Vegas trip and posting about your, lunch and dinner trips and all of that. So LinkedIn is where it's at for those professional shares. So that's the difference between social media and business media. The focus is less on leisure and likes and more on business and, should I say, bang for your buck, I guess, because you can turn a lot of connections that you make on LinkedIn to business, and it's more trusted coming from that platform as opposed to the others. And LinkedIn is free, although there's a paid account type, but it's a total upsell. It's an upsell based on some small additional features, which you might not ever see the need for. Seeing who clicks on your profile is one of those added features that you pay for in LinkedIn. Being able to message people before they add you, which you still can do for free to some extent. So that's the advantage to that. Of course, LinkedIn has that fun flair. There's the ability to like, share, interact, react. So it's social, which keeps us connected, but with more of a focus on connecting for employment and service and less on popular, trending celebrity news and the fluff. It aims to eliminate the fluff, if you will. So that's a little on LinkedIn. I would say nowadays, social media is a powerful, one of the most powerful tools of promotion for many businesses. but we must learn to thrive, even if we cannot always lean on that free connection with people from all over, being right at our fingertips. I know it's only been 2 weeks in this month, 2 weeks in which I have not been active on social at all, as far as my personal social media, for purposes of focusing more so on building my automation and my email listserv and a few other things, and learning to survive. Let's say social media evaporates all of a sudden, like a lot of people would be lost when it comes to business because we lean on that so much. And I've already had 3 referrals and 1 direct lead, which have kept me afloat thus far, as far as resumes, and a few etiquette presentations already in my pipeline that will hopefully lead to more business and connectivity. And that's just with me working on building my network and my business, trying not to lean on social media, the personal social media so much. So my point is, and what I want you to take from that, is to never depend on one form of promotion or a single type of platform to generate business for you. And I would urge you to stay connected with me. There's Riles Resumes Plus, which I've spoken on a large portion of today. And you can, of course, find me on LinkedIn, my Instagram, my Facebook. You can screenshot these or go to them, add me that way. I also have my website, rilesresumesplus.com. And then there's Impressum School of Social Graces, which I touched on a little bit. And I'll be presenting at Raymond Junior Academy on Friday, dining etiquette and personal polishing for the girls there, proper sitting posture, personal introductions, proper introductions, a little bit on elevator speech and getting over fright of first impressions, making first impressions. And so that is a bit of how you can find me on those other platforms and keep in touch with me, and also request me for a presentation to one of your groups or one of your areas that you would need either resume writing, cover letter creation, interview prep. I do mock interviews. It can be virtual, in-person training, and also etiquette consultation. So yeah, I wrapped up much quicker than I expected, Kate.
That's fine. That's great. Well, they say short and sweet. Nowadays, everybody wants their information quick, so that's perfect. I just wanted to say, so going back to the resume bit, I think so. I worked for a couple of years as a job coach and helped people write resumes, and I can say that the great thing about as an entrepreneur or whatever field you're in, no matter how much you feel like you have job security, is one, you never know what's going to happen. And the pandemic showed us that more than anything else. We know several entrepreneurs that their businesses shut down because suddenly their clients were having to shut down. And so, you can't control certain things. So having that updated is so important. Also, I think the other big thing that I noticed as a job coach was people forget the things they have accomplished, especially if you've been with a company for a while. Exactly. And I talked to so many people who are overwhelmed with their resume, and it's the advantage of, one, keeping it up to date, and 2, hiring someone to help and ask those questions and look at the jobs they're applying with to really get a sense of like, hey, like, these are the things we need to look at. And can we go back over time and think critically about things that you accomplished that this company would like? So it's a great point there. And also the contracts. Jordan and I talked a little bit about this before everybody got on, but in our lunchtime talk a couple weeks ago, we talked about getting the ideal clients you want. And when you have that contract in place, it's like setting a standard between you and your client of, like Jordan said, the expectations that you're setting for that relationship. So it's so important, and people forget that. Oftentimes we just enter into a speedy relationship with a client because we need the income quickly as a freelancer. And it's like that feast or famine mentality. We just do it out of like, I'm afraid I'm not going to get the client if I don't speed things up. But having that reference point, like you said, so important. And then I have a question for you on LinkedIn. So you talked a little bit about, using what you post and being professional. And there's often a debate on LinkedIn, right? Because so much of social media has turned into people sharing their opinions. And when social media came around, I was in high school, and I remember people would come talk to us and be like, don't put anything on social media. You wouldn't want anybody to know about you. Like, don't, there was
red cups.
Yeah, red cups, right? Like,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yes, the solo cups. They were very common in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I always really followed that. Nowadays, people are expressing their opinions all over social media, including LinkedIn. And I think sometimes that can be beneficial. Like, for example, I saw an HR person talking about a lot of the controversy with remote work or not remote work. And she puts out polls and surveys to get people's feedback, which has worked for her because her company is called The Human Workplace. But I do think, what is your opinion on people sharing their opinions that aren't related to the work they're doing? What do you have some advice there? Do we get embroiled in comments, or what has been your experience with that? Do you mind sharing?
Well, I've seen LinkedIn evolve. It's become more like it's always been like the Facebook timeline, but it's become more, they've added reactions. So you can do more reacting. There's the celebration that I support you. And yeah, it looks like it's welcoming more opinions. And it's like, to your own discretion, depending on what type of work you do, you determine whether oversharing your opinion, or you determine the type of interaction you have on that platform and how it's going to affect your business. So it's kind of like that judgment thing that you use when you're talking about sharing opinions on LinkedIn. You're talking about sharing opinions on that professional platform. Yeah, I would say just use your judgment, because it looks like it's welcoming more social interaction. It's becoming more fluid and more, more social, less stoic. Yeah. It used to be very cut and dry, but LinkedIn is evolving. And so, especially with a lot of work being virtual, a lot of positions are remote now, like permanently. A lot of people have transitioned to having remote positions at their companies. And so that puts people behind the computer screen more, and all they have is that interaction. So I think it's more welcome for that reason too. Because, we're not all in the office all the time as we used to be. The pandemic, like you said, has changed a lot. And I think some people are getting knocked out and coming back in, but the pandemic, like you said, has changed a lot. And I think right now, since we've come back from the, when we were home, or when a lot of people were home, since we've come back from that, a lot of people are rebuilding. Like you said, some people shut down their companies. Some people are trying to rebuild now. And I believe in this season, a lot of us are learning to not be so hung up on keeping momentum, but really slowing down. And like you said, the feast or famine, not being so focused on trying to turn leads into a client right away, but working on our automation systems like Dubsado and stuff like that, working on systems that are apart from social media, so that if we ever have to go back, God forbid, if we ever go through another situation where we have to, what is the word I'm looking for?
We have to,
you're losing it too. When we have to go back on, somebody unmute and tell us.
Go back,
because it's going to make me mad.
Social distancing. I don't know. Or
social. It's gonna come to me. I'm so mad. But yeah, when we have to go back to I don't want to say shut down, because that's not the word I'm looking for. But we will be in a place where we will be able to survive. So
yeah.
Somebody said medieval times. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but kind of.
I'm looking it up. That's why I paused. but yeah, you made some good points. And I think a lot of people have worked on rebuilding. A lot of people are now being awakened to the fact that they need to get automation systems in place, email listservs, going back to some of those things that we tried to move away from, like emailing, to getting people at our fingertips, like social media. We have to go back to having our email listserv and being able to get in touch with people virtually, even if it's not via social media. So
yeah, agreed. And I think that's why it's so important, like you said, not to just focus on social media, but building relationships, whether they're in person or, like you said, your listserv, or in communities that, unique communities to what you're doing, and really finding your niche in various ways other than just on social media. So, but I love all these points. This has been insightful. I think headed into the new year, a lot of people start thinking about goals for themselves. And like you said, contracts and getting their business in line, writing all their accomplishments down, or finding that new job, updating their LinkedIn. So I'm excited for people to, take a look at this and to share it with others. We're hoping that people will take advantage of your services too, which they can find on our website below the video, and then also within the last slide, which we'll share as well in the posting. So thank you for being here, Jordan. Do you have anything else you want to share, or are we ready to close out?
Yeah, no, thank you all so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure. Thank you again to Miss Kate and Miss Jen for having me. And thank you to Creative Coast for always having so many opportunities and places for entrepreneurs to gather, even the rising entrepreneurs. So like I said, I give many props to you all for creating that platform to pitch an idea that actually became my business.